If you still think both the heat cap and the hair steamer do the exact same thing, you're very wrong. These are both excellent heat tools, but they serve completely different purposes. I happen to use both of these tools in my hair routine. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down to you their differences, when it's best to use either of them, and I'll even be giving you recommendations on which one is best for you to use depending on the condition of your hair. So I've been a loose natural since 2015, since March 2015, and I've been locked since March 2025. And so I've established that I have low porosity hair. Even now that my hair is locked, I still find it difficult for products to penetrate into my hair shafts. Products still tend to sit on my hair, and I am very prone to build up. I feel like there's a lot of confusion when it comes to moisture and hydration, and especially for low porosity girlies, we usually confuse heat with moisture. Now, heat can enable moisture, but heat does not necessarily equate to moisture. And I'm going to explain further. So, for instance, water is a source of hydration, while water based products are sources of moisture. Okay, they moisturize the hair. Think of it like when you have your bath, when you pour water on your body, you are hydrating your body. When you drink water, you are hydrating your body from the inside. When you pour water on your skin, you are hydrating your body. But when you rub lotion, you are moisturizing your skin. Okay, and that's just the same way with hair. Water hydrates and products moisturize and oils seal. Another thing that people usually confuse is heat and moisture. People tend to equate heat with moisture, but that's not totally true. Heat aids moisture, but heat doesn't necessarily offer moisture or hydration. Heat only aids in the penetration of moisture into the hair shaft. It does not necessarily give moisture. It does not necessarily hydrate the hair. I believe that in order to really understand how and when to use these heat tools, it's important to understand how each of them deliver moisture or hydration to your hair. So I'm going to start with the steamer. What does it actually do? A steamer is a tool that adds moisture to the hair. Therefore, a steam to hydrate the hair by introducing water into the hair directly in vapor form that is able to penetrate the hair shaft. A steamer is great when your hair feels really dry and crunchy. It will help to open the hair cuticle. It will introduce those little molecules of water into the hair shaft, and it will actually hydrate your hair. The best time to use a steamer is after cleansing, just before you deep condition or add any treatment to your hair. You can also steam your hair midweek to boost moisture in your hair midweek, especially if you have high porosity hair and you have challenge retaining moisture in your hair, retaining hydration. You find out that midweek your hair is dry and crunchy. A steamer is perfect for that. When your locks feel dehydrated or you just need a midweek moisture refresh, a steamer is perfect for that. However, I'll caution those with high porosity hair. Using a steamer too often can cause overhydration, also known as hygral fatigue. It has been a long time since I had that phrase, hygral fatigue. That's when your hair is too hydrated and it also becomes very weak and loses elasticity because it has absorbed too much water. It is even as bad, if not even worse than actual dry hair, because your hair will also break off. So you want to avoid hygral fatigue, you want to avoid overhydrating your hair, especially when you have high porosity. High porosity is when your hair does not have problem receiving moisture, but it also quickly releases the moisture out. So you want to be able to control the way your hair receives moisture as a high porosity girl too. A heat cap does not use moist heat. A heat cap actually uses dry heat. And what that dry heat does is that it helps to push in the product that is already on your hair into your hair shaft. As low porosity girlies, if you are able to relate, even when you've been able to steam your hair, even when your hair is, wet, and maybe you use warm water and your hair shaft is open, you still discover that most products will still sit on your hair, especially when the products are thick. They still tend to sit on your hair. The cuticle of your hair is tight, is really tight, and so the product is having difficulty penetrating into your hair. That's where the heat cap comes in. It uses dry heat to actually push in the product into your hair and open up your cuticles even more so that the products can actually pass into your hair shaft. Now, note that a heat cap does not add moisture. Like I said, it doesn't use moist heat, it uses dry heat. So it does not add moisture to your hair. It only helps products already on your hair to penetrate into your hair. That's the key difference between the heat cap and the hair steamer. Think of oils, conditioners, protein treatments, whatever you put on your hair, you can use the heat cap to get it in, to let it seep into your hair. So the best times to use a heat cap is after your deep conditioning, if you do a lot of hot oil treatments, if you do a lot of protein treatments, just hair treatment in general. You also need a heat cap when your hair has difficulty absorbing products. For example, if you notice that products are always sitting on your hair, or you are heavy handed with products, okay, you need a heat cap so that you will avoid products buildup. Now, it's important to note that if your hair is dry, if your hair is not hydrated, a heat cap will not help you. Using a heat cap on dry, dehydrated hair is just the same thing as using oil on dry hair. Okay. Oil just seals in the moisture already on your hair. So you have to first introduce water into your hair, then you have to boost the hydration by using a moisturizing product on your hair, and then you use an oil to seal everything in. Okay, and that's why you first of all have to use the hair steamer to introduce hydration into your hair before you use the heat cap to enable the products penetrate into the hair. You have to use it in this order. If not, you're going to be using it wrong, and you're not going to get the effect, or you're not going to get the result you desire. All right, so the heat cap just enables products that are already on your hair to penetrate into your hair shaft. It does not introduce moisture to your hair, it does not hydrate your hair. So basically, the steam cap adds moisture. The heat cap enhances absorption. Steam preps your hair for moisture. It hydrates your hair and preps your hair for any other moisturizing product you want to apply on your hair. The heat cap seals, it enables whatever product you put on your hair to actually penetrate your hair and not just stay on the surface, especially for locks. Okay, you know that even within a strand of lock is a strand of lock is compacted strands of hair. So you don't want the product to just sit on the surface of the hair. You actually want the product to enter into the lock. And that's what the heat cap helps you do. It helps the product to enter into the actual lock itself so that the whole strand will be moisturized and hydrated. So these tools are actually complementary. They are not interchangeable. You can actually use both of them together, but one cannot replace the other. So for my loose natural hair girlies, the steam cap will aid in elasticity and softness of your hair. Steaming your hair will actually help you to detangle your hair with less stress, with less pulling and less breakage. While the heat cap will actually help every product or treatment penetrate into your hair and be more effective. Okay. For my locks girlies, steam helps to hydrate the locks even inside each strand of locks. It will help the hydration to enter into your actual lock so that you don't just moisturize your hair and the next hour or so, your hair still feels crunchy and dry. Steaming your hair helps the moisture, helps the water to enter into your actual locks, especially if you have very thick locks. It helps the moisture to penetrate into your hair shaft. And then the heat cap will help your treatment and your hot oil penetrate your hair shaft with very minimal buildup. But in both cases, just know that less is actually more, especially when it comes to steaming. Less is actually more, because the thing with steaming is that it opens up your cuticle, so you don't want to overdo it. Both for both steaming and heat cap, about maximum like 10 to 15 minutes steaming your hair or using the heat cap is usually enough. Okay, in my routine I usually steam my hair first. I steam my hair so that my hair will be, my locks will be more malleable, because in that video you'll notice that my hair was really dry. I had actually neglected my hair for a while. My locks had started marrying together. It was very difficult for me to pass my fingers through my hair. But once I had steamed it, my locks became malleable. I could run my fingers through my hair. I was able to easily separate locks that were already merging together. So that helped to hydrate my hair. Then I added oil to my hair, and then I used the heat cap. So I didn't have to warm up the oil. Yes, it's a hot oil treatment, but I didn't have to pre warm the oil because I was using a heat cap. So I just put the oil on my hair and then I use my heat cap. And the heat cap actually enabled the oil to sink into my hair. By the time I was done, my hair was not feeling greasy. Also, I was light-handed with, being that I have locks and I knew that I wasn't going to wash it out. I made sure I was very light-handed with the oil so that when I took off the heat cap, my hair was not feeling greasy. The oils had penetrated into my locks. My locks had soaked up the oil into the shaft and my hair was not even feeling greasy. So that order is very intentional. That was why I was very intentional. By the time I had finished, this routine, my hair felt really, really good. So common mistakes you want to avoid with using the steam cap or the heat cap. Don't use a steam cap on dirty hair. Make sure your hair is either clean or freshly washed. In my case, in this video, my hair was not freshly washed, but it was clean. Okay, my scalp was dirty, but my locks itself was not dirty. During the week for about previous like 2 weeks, I've not even used anything like mousse or any particular product on my hair, so I knew that my locks were clean. Before you steam your hair, make sure that your hair is clean or freshly washed. Also, don't use the heat cap on dry hair. Make sure that there is some sort of product on your hair, whether it's a deep conditioner, whether it's a protein treatment, whether even if it's a leave-in conditioner, make sure that there is some sort of product on your hair, or even an oil. Make sure there is some sort of products in your hair before you use the heat cap. It's not meant to be used on hair strands, if you get me. Also, don't steam your hair for too long, especially the steaming tool. Don't use it for too long. It actually opens up your hair cuticle, and you don't want your hair to be open for too long. You don't want to over hydrate your strands. Okay, so just don't use it for too long. Also, try to avoid copying routines without understanding your porosity. Okay, because if you have high porosity hair and you follow the routine of a low porosity natural, you won't get a good result. Okay, you'll get the opposite of what you expect. Vice versa, if you're a low porosity and use the routine of uh, a high porosity natural, you discover that you just have products build up, like nothing will be getting into your hair, because the porosity of your hair matters. The porosity of your hair affects how your hair receives products, and how fast moisture or hydration also leaves your hair. So, practical advice: if your main issue is dryness, especially midweek, you just washed your hair, but middle of the week your hair is crunchy, dry, you definitely need a steamer. If your issue is that products just sit on your hair and you suffer a lot of products build up, you will definitely need a heat cap. If you do treatment often, protein treatment, hot oil treatment, you will probably benefit better from using a heat cap. So I hope with this video I've been able to clarify the difference between the heat cap and the steamer and when you can use either or both of them. And if you're just into simple, intentional hair care, intentional living, remember to like this video and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.